I'm redesigning all 10 of the 2025 Formula 1 car liveries. We've done Ferrari, we've done Haas, now on to Mercedes. The Silver Arrows, Lewis Hamilton less. And you know what? This reveal, more than any other, I found pretty mysterious. A lot of unanswered questions. So let's take a look at where the strangely absent Ineos stand before having a go at my own version. My name's Tommo. Let's talk about it. Look, there must be something going on, right? Livery launch season is a huge deal, even if you're not fundamentally changing your livery much. And of course, Red Bull and McLaren haven't. Mercedes haven't fundamentally much either. But everyone releases renders. Everyone leans into it and celebrates the new car. Mercedes, none of that at all. One image clearly taken from the event by a pap, zoomed in, high quality, fine, you put that on the website, no internal imagery, no renders, nothing from Mercedes at all. And then you look at the airbox and you look at the big empty space and think, well, hang on a second, for years, Ineos, Jim Ratcliffe's company, who owns 1/3 of Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 team, is absent. Not completely absent, it's still on the front wing end plate on the inside and on the nose in smaller versions, but in terms of the positioning a title sponsor essentially should have on a car, Ineos, nowhere to be found. Now there was questioning before this F1 75 live event around Ineos and Mercedes splitting up. It was put to Toto Wolff and he rejected it. He said it was never a consideration. Jim Ratcliffe is one of us three amigos, Mercedes, Jim and I. We are never going to part ways. He's been a great sponsor. We've had projects together. Nothing you read in the news will change anything. And the Mercedes spokesperson also told Sky Sports News there's been no discussions at any point of a shareholder change and sponsorship with Ineos is ongoing and stable. So if that's the case, what's going on? There's no images of the car, right? Which tells me that there were renders, those renders exist, and Ineos is in position on that kind of airbox above the driver's head. But for some reason, those images are not being released, and for some reason it's being taken off the car during that F1 75 live event, but not fully off the car. And look, there's no smoke without fire. This has come from somewhere, because Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe, look, if you're a Manchester United fan, you'll know all about the Jim Ratcliffe situation. It's been a bit messy. As a West Ham fan, and I really don't like Man United, from a sporting point of view, I'm happy. But look, at the end of the day, right, any football club shouldn't be run poorly. Doesn't matter whether I support them or not, and it doesn't feel like Jim Ratcliffe's doing a very good job from a sporting point of view, but also his sponsorship goes beyond Man United. Outside of that, Jim's in a bit of trouble, in a bit of a sticky situation with New Zealand Rugby, who are taking legal action out against Ineos after backing out of their multi-million-pound sponsorship deal. The accusation is that they had a 6-year deal and they're attempting to walk away 3 years early, a deal that started in 2021 and is purported to be worth about £3.65 million a year. Toto can try and downplay this and make it not seem like anything's going on, but explain why there's no imagery of the car. Even on the website, they're just using this zoomed in version of the car that was taken from the event. There's no internal imagery at all. It doesn't make any sense unless something is going on. Look, other than that, fundamentally the livery looks absolutely a carbon copy of last year, pretty much. Okay, we've still got the Mercedes pattern at the back and the gradient in there. Again, apart from the Ineos being absent, that's about it. We obviously know Mercedes have partnered with Adidas, which has made some pretty decent merch. I can't see any Adidas logo on the car itself. I'm going to make sure to fix that in my redesign, because come on, this is a huge deal. Adidas getting involved in Formula 1, one of the big marquee sportswear brands. We're still waiting on Nike. McLaren, you're going to make this happen one day, surely. But Adidas are involved. They're in the game. Put it on the car, surely. Come on. I like the sharp hits of teal that contrast the silver and black base. It's a very, very smart livery. I do like it a lot. It's not quite the 2019 Mercedes, which for me is one of the greatest liveries of all time. I absolutely adore that car, but this is still very smart. They've kept the same as last year, and I'm not fundamentally opposed to that. Ranking wise, I definitely prefer this to the Ferrari we've seen this year, and you know what, I think the Haas as well. I think this is going top of my three. It's Mercedes, Haas, Ferrari so far. So that's what Mercedes have done, but what about my interpretation, my redesign? Can I do something a little bit different and make it even better? Well, you can be the judge of that. Here is my redesign of the 2025 Mercedes Formula 1 car. I said it before and I'll say it again. What do you think? I like the composition of the Merc, but I wanted to bring a bit more silver back. I do think it's kind of missing a bit of silver. You know, that is their kind of unique colour that they have on the grid. I know you can't say silver is much of a colour, right? But it's still there. They're silver arrows, okay? And I think it is a little bit too black, if you ask me, especially now that weight isn't such of an issue for these F1 cars, so the exposed carbon problem isn't such a thing. Right, we'll start with the side profile. That's where we kind of typically start, and I've used the carbon just to try and emulate these new kind of side pod inlets. AMG in its same place as usual, couple of sponsors on here, UPS and Acodis. The Patronus on the side profile, I've gone for a white text with a black stroke around it just to make it kind of pop. It's hard with silver, white, black to know what colours, because sometimes you can't get that. It's contrast that brings attention, brings eyeballs to this digital billboard that's moving at 200 miles an hour. Not digital billboard, carbon billboard, should I say. TeamViewer and Solera, kind of similar positions on the side AMD there as well. I've stuck the Adidas logo up here nicely, and I've kept this space, the Ineos-less space, free, because who knows, right? Will it be Ineos? Will they come back? Is this just a decision by Mercedes to take it off of the car in its big form, just in case things go Pete Tong, right, with the sponsorship deal, but still keep it in its little form, which I have retained it on the inside of the front wing end plates. Right, so that's the side profile. Again, the gradient, the classic Mercedes gradient is here with this. I've kind of taken the black carbon up through here. I haven't got the Mercedes kind of silver arrow pattern here. I'm not a massive lover of that part of it personally. It's just a bit fiddly for my taste, and well, this is my livery redesign, so I'm going to take it out. Okay, that's fine. That's fine with me. And then the teal here, which I've actually taken all the way down here, and then I wrapped it around the nose and then back the other side, so it kind of connects on both ends. But instead of the teal coming down here and through the Patronus, it kind of stays back here. I think from the side profile, kind of looks. Kind of got these angular bits from bang side on. That's the thing, you know, designing you start with this angle, this bang side on, and then you're like, hang on, this is a three-dimensional vehicle. Rarely do you see an F1 car from a bang side on angle, so it has to work through so many different perspectives, and I think that's the challenge of livery design that I think a lot of people take for granted and don't appreciate. It's got to look good, it's got to look sick from every single angle, so sometimes simpler the better. The Patronus on the rear wing, what I've done is put the teal background with the white text and black stroke, which is more of a hark back to, like, I want to say 2014. The early Mercedes had this, and then on the back of the rear wing I've kind of flipped the colours, put a little teal along the back. I think that looks quite cool from the kind of rear on angle, and we see this angle a lot, don't we? It's interesting to me because I'm a livery nerd, right? But maybe next time you watch some F1, pay attention to the actual angles we see and which sponsors are really getting that airtime. It might not always be the ones you expect at first glance. I've got 63 for old George Russell with a teal on the back of the black text. We come round to the front here, and I've gone quite, again, lent into the silver on this front wing. We've got a bit of teal along the front, Patronus, and then Cintium. Mercedes emblem here, Gap, and then you've got your sponsors, starting obviously with Patronus being the title sponsor. Most importantly, SAP, Pirelli, Acodis, Ineos, squeezing in there, and CrowdStrike, Patronus, Cintium, just like in the real car. CrowdStrike, I probably should have actually made this CrowdStrike smaller, because it feels, yeah, it's actually, this is feedback for myself, right? This and this, the Patronus and the CrowdStrike are too close. They're different brands, they shouldn't be this close. I put WhatsApp on here because they're sponsored by WhatsApp. And they've not really announced many more sponsors this year, Mercedes. They've obviously lost Puma, Tommy, through Lewis leaving. So it's always going to be a difficult year to get new sponsors when you're losing a driver as high profile as Lewis Hamilton. It is classic Mercedes. It's just a slight different interpretation, different take. It's always good actually as well, just to really zoom out. I feel like when you see a car small, really tells you what are the key features that are going to pop from a distance that, you know, when you're looking up close you're not necessarily gonna identify. But yeah, we've got the Ineos-less space up there, plenty of space down here. This is the thing, right? Mercedes, even though it is Mercedes, they don't have tons of sponsors on the car like Ferrari, like even Williams are starting to now, getting a lot of sponsors knocking about. Mercedes kind of, they can afford to, I guess, not take on a ton of sponsors and let each sponsor sing. Do I think it's better than the original? Honestly, And I always put this in the top of the pinned comment. So like either original or TOMMO'S for which version you prefer. Oh yeah, I did the white on the front and the teal on the rear wheels, by the way. I thought that was kind of smart. I probably would say I prefer the original. Maybe I like the nose of mine a little bit more. But I'd probably say I prefer the original overall. But I don't think we had any really bad liveries this year, to be honest. So sometimes it's a slight rejigging, sometimes it's a complete different interpretation. But let me know your thoughts and feelings, as always, in the comments down below. That's 3 of 10 done. Next is going to be racing bulls. And I'm telling you that because I've already finished the livery redesign. I just need to film the video and get changed out of this. So yeah, my name's Tommo. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.